Time being 7:30. Caesar, do we have the Zoom on?
There you go.
Zoom on there?
Yeah.
Thanks. We have one member on the Zoom with us. So, time being 7 o'clock, I call the Halifax Planning Board into session. All members present. On the agenda, we have 7 p.m. a hearing for elevated routes, 319 Monpont Street site plan review. 7:15, we have a hearing for elevated routes, 319 Monpont Street, the special permit for marijuana dispensary. 7:30, we have Liddell 285 Home Street, lighting plan and drainage required, inquiries. 7:45 River Street Associates LLC, Robert Grant, 115 River Street, amended site plan. 8 p.m. we have pasture lane discussion on updates to the subdivision. And then discussions, we have Flower and Soul, 894 Plymouth Street, as built, 5G bylaw, 40R, and then we have 4 bills and meeting minutes from March 3rd and March 17th. Do I have a motion to accept the agenda as read?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Rick?
Aye.
Okay, so first thing is we have elevated routes. We have representatives. Okay.
I'm Chairman Peter D'Agostino on behalf of Elevated Routes. I think I'll introduce the team. The 2 owners of Elevated Routes, Bobby Palmer and Bosnard Khan, are with us tonight. We have Al from our civil team, Al Loomis, doing civil. Sean in the back is our architect, and as well as Joe Callahan, our general contractor. And then my colleague, Catherine from my office. Say names too quick. So just by way of background to the board, we first introduced the idea of this project to the town on August 10th when we sent a letter to the select board introducing kind of the proposal at this site. Since then, we've met at public meetings with the select board. On September 28th, we came in and did a presentation before the select board seeking a host community agreement and really some buy-off to move forward in the process. And as well as to conduct our community forum. So that was the first introduction with the presentation to the public beyond our letter. Then on November 2nd, we came back before the select board and conducted our community forum where members of the public were able to join and ask questions. All of these experiences were really good. We haven't had any neighborhood pushback or any residents opposition at all to the project or the site during any of this process. We were then back before the board on December 14th, the select board, for our host community agreement. Again, there was a further discussion about the project during that time. The board voted to approve the host community agreement that night. We then appeared before the select board on March 22nd for both the site plan was presented to the board then, as well as the municipal response document, which is just a form required by the Cannabis Control Commission. And then again, before you tonight. So we've been talking about this with the town collectively for about 8 months. We've had public meetings over the last, of those 8 months, probably about 6 times, I think. So this is a project that I think a lot of people are familiar with, that really we haven't had any opposition from any residents or abutters at any point during this process. I'm going to have Al come up and kind of take you through the civil plan. We're not really proposing any changes on the site. We're using the existing building, the old bank location, as you see it there today, obviously updating the outside and with the new floor plan on the inside. So if I could, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to...
We didn't open the hearing.
This is the site plan.
Okay.
If I could, Mr. Chairman. Nope, no worries. I appreciate you checking. Turn it over to Al just to take you through the site plan.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Al Loomis from Kenzie Engineering. The site, as Peter noted, it really involves some cosmetic changes almost to the building. The site itself has two entrances and one exit. We plan on maintaining that traffic flow. There's adequate parking to support this. There's some of the changes we made. We're providing a dumpster pad here and just some additional entryways to the rear. Other than that, the site really remains the same. There's some catch basins throughout the site that will remain. They're leaching catch basins, it appears. We've investigated to the point we could, and it looks like they're leaching catch basins. I don't think anyone has knowledge of there being a problem out there for drainage, so we would just maintain that drainage system. As I say, there's adequate parking. There'll be employee spaces along the rear, so that the flow will remain the same. We anticipate that this entrance will see the most customer traffic, so that the employees would probably come in this entrance, and this would see the most traffic. There's an ATM on site that is going to remain. It's separate. It doesn't interfere with the flow of traffic, other than it has a separate lane that goes out and around to this exit. Lighting is, in our opinion, adequate.
Could I stop you for one?
Sure thing.
Do people want to see what he's proposing? Yeah, if you can move. Just don't want anybody blocked out.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So there's existing lighting for the site. There's a couple of pole-mounted floodlights that provide light for the bulk of the parking spaces. There's also some lighting across the back, as well as some under the canopy, what was the drive-through for the bank. So there's adequate lighting throughout the site for security and for the ability to negotiate the site. So because it's an existing facility, there's really not a lot I can say about it, other than we think the drainage and traffic, et cetera, is adequately addressed.
So no changes to any utilities that serve the bank?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct, yeah.
And the drive-through's coming off.
That's going to remain.
It's going to remain.
Yes.
Sort of like a portico.
I'm sorry.
Like a portico, you can't pass out the window, right?
No, that's correct.
Correct.
I think we're-
As far as the bank ATM saying, on the flow, I can't see the actual edge of, is there actually enough flow that if someone was stopped at the ATM, the traffic could still move around the vehicle that was stopped? I can't really
So-
tell on that.
This is the typical lane width here. There's, as you can see, there's parallel parking here. So, as well as along here. So it's certainly no narrower than that. This is a 20 scale plan. Oh, yep, okay.
Concrete at least 13.
Directly up to the kiosk, so you're a 5.5 foot wide car on average. So there would probably be just enough to pass if necessary. K-Fog room around here, so it's mountable with the wheels.
Flow may not need to travel around.
We don't anticipate that. We anticipate this flow being strictly for the use of because it's kind of out of the way to go out and around here, as opposed to backing out and going this way or driving around and out.
And as far as the entrances that exist, I believe there is one here. That's going to remain?
That,
No, that one comes off, and then we move the door to the front. So-
Okay, so all customer traffic goes through that.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then part of the plan, we just contemplated from a policy perspective, just putting the employees here. So if a car enters here, it forces them to the main parking lot, and then no incentive for anybody to come here, park here, because there won't be a door there as it relates to customers. So you just kind of put the employees here. They'll be the first ones in the morning, helps push everybody to the main lot. Entrance is where it is, as you see it today, and an exit coming in right here.
And then a potential service for employees or something in the back?
service.
Yeah, this is emergency exit, and this is where product delivery would occur.
Okay.
That's what this is. They called out the egress door, and when we say delivery, we really, a better term would be like shipping and receiving, not outward delivery, but product coming in. Yeah, then that's it. That new entrance we were talking about is called out there.
Okay.
So we think that actually potentially increases the traffic flow, just keeping everybody moving to the main lot.
Yeah, I believe so.
It's marked on the ground as well, so we would maintain that.
From a strictly site kind of perspective, I think the only change was the dumpster pad.
Mm.
And how many?
So what did you have for employees there?
Per shift, Mr. Chairman. You normally around 6 to 8. You could have more during busier times.
So are you accounting for them in the spaces for the parking according to our bylaw?
We calculated it on the basis of one space for each 100 square feet of floor area.
I think it's also plus employees. Well, we can figure that out. But anything else? Questions?
I'm just
Signage.
reading that long email that was sent to us about this.
Yep.
And the signage.
And you got proposed signage?
We didn't propose it tonight. We're doing a separate application for the signage because just quite frankly, the design wasn't ready to submit. We do have a rendering of what that proposal will look like, but the sign company's working on getting the permit in to the town, so we're not seeking approval for a chain of signage tonight.
What location?
Same spot.
Same size.
It's actually a little bit smaller.
Because that is part of the site plan, so if you were gonna do it later, then it would be revised site plan, so it makes sense to put it in now.
Yeah. The sign vendor is working on that. As far as I know.
I mean, as far as location and,
Yeah, same location. Slightly smaller sign.
so there's 2 enter-onlys and 1 exit.
That's correct.
And what do you anticipate for traffic flow?
On, you mean as far as customer count? It varies typically. When we look at customers, I'll just give a little background on kind of the canvas here. So typically from an engineering perspective, we used to use about 15 minutes per customer time pre the pandemic. During the pandemic, the Cannabis Control Commission adopted or embraced third-party vendor technology and actually changed the regulations and such. So now, very typically, customers will order ahead of time before they get to the facility, and then they just go and pick it up. So from an engineering perspective, traffic engineers are now using about 6 to 8 minutes, so on average about 7 minutes trip time. So it's made it incredibly more efficient. So we get significantly more parking. And typically you see about, on average, about 35 customers an hour. So when we factor that in, we really have substantial parking here because no one's going to be there an hour. So there's quite a bit of parking access here.
Do you have a number on the square footage of the building?
I'm looking it up.
Where do you know what we're talking about?
I'm looking it up right now.
We have enough people here, somebody's got that answer for you.
About 58 by 46.
It says it's 3,672.
That's up.
You're right.
So that was 2 parking spots short. It's 1 per square foot. There's only 34. It should be 36, which is what's in the signal too.
It's kind of long.
I think when we did the calculation, we had 29 spaces, right?
Yes.
That's not one.
Right, 34. Okay.
That's what you had too. Okay, so, and then the employees too. So your largest shift would have 8 employees.
What do you guys think? Yeah. Sound about right? Yeah. For a majority of the day, it would be significantly less, normally plus up, late afternoon and very busy time.
Yeah, have you done a traffic study?
We didn't do a traffic study. No. These businesses operate very, very similarly to a bank where people pull in, they come in, do a transaction and leave. But we think this is very similar in operation, traffic flow, customer counts to the existing use that's there now. With one exception being our customer times are much shorter than a bank. Typically people are in and out of a bank in that amount of time. So, but from a traffic flow, the time of day people come, what they do when they get there, it's all very, very similar to how this site is operating currently. So we think this is very appropriate use.
Are you expecting, or do you already require that these purchases are like pre-done online, where you don't actually have a customer who's spending too much time in the store? Is that typically what you see, is that it's pre-ordered?
That's what Peter was just saying. When COVID hit, it changed. So a lot of the technology now, it's all pre-orders. So we can come in the morning and there could be 40, 50 orders already ready to go. So throughout the day.
It's not required, but it's typical.
Yeah, it's typical.
So you could just walk in.
Yeah, over 50%. They just walk right in, go to line, it's underneath their name. They're in and out within 3 minutes.
Okay. Kind of industry-wide throughout the state, we're seeing about 50 to 85% of orders are pre-orders.
Okay.
Just as what people across the board are experiencing. Yeah. And as that technology continues to improve, it continues to get better. So it's interesting. This is one of the industries where it left 10 years in 12 months. There wasn't even a pre-order, statewide rollout that existed prior to COVID. Now it's adopted at between 50 and 85% of all customers use it. So we went from not having it to almost full adoption in 24 months.
But you're not anticipating the same volume of traffic as a bank has,
What do you mean?
customers.
We think it's similar, and when you look at traffic engineering, it's actually similar. We do have a little bit more, but it's not significantly more.
But with less time to purchase, then that frees up more space for parking because they're not in there taking as much time, so it doesn't create a log jam.
That's right.
No, but it creates a lot of traffic. I mean, I don't anticipate that you're gonna have the same amount of traffic as the bank had. I gotta think it's gonna be more than that.
Probably. Yeah, but what time are you thinking open and what time is gonna be closed? I just do across the street. I don't let you put that before.
Okay.
No one uses the bank.
Who is it?
No one goes to the bank anymore.
Yeah, 9 to 9.
Right.
I think, Mr. Chairman, one of the benefits we have is we're already operational in Kingston. Today's the 1-year anniversary, actually. So we have a fairly good sense of what the traffic flow in these facilities looks like, what the customer flow, who's using the app, who's not. So not a lot of people in Massachusetts have a years-long experience of operating one of these, and we're doing it very close by. So I think the demographics and the folks that operate very similar ways here as they move to Kingston. So when we assess this site and applying what we've experienced over the last 12 months, we feel very comfortable with this amount of parking and how the site will operate.
Rick, do you have any questions?
You're on mute.
All right, I'm here now. Okay. How many parking spaces they say they had there?
34.
How many?
34.
34. So you're shy a couple? It's 3,600 square foot building.
believe so.
Yeah, 36. What did I say? 3672.
Did you find it? It's 3672.
So actually be 37.
Yeah, so it's short by 3.
Just curious on the Kingston thing, that's part of the new Amazon building?
Yeah.
Is it just parking out front that building has?
Yeah, and we park
Just
employees
curious
up
how,
front too.
yeah, I was curious how many spots do you have at the other place that's already going?
We have less.
Yeah, 28, including all in.
That's 28,000 square feet.
The building's 20,000, yeah, the facility's about 5,000. We have 15,000 square feet out back. Right out 5,000 square foot facility, 28 spots.
Is this spot there, is that open
For the
for
turn.
turn? Or would you actually be able to add 2 more spots there and still turn a car here?
I think that's open for the turn
Okay.
because they got the drive-through coming through there too.
Yeah, I was just curious if you could add. At first glance, I'd definitely say between those two numbers that it'd be good to find 2 more spots in the, as far as if you can reconfigure what's already there for pavement, as far as simply restriping or reconfiguring.
There's also supposed to be 1 space per employee for the largest shift.
You required us to do that. That's all, so. We had to put 7 extra spots in. So we had 24 and you had to put 7 additional.
I thought you already had them.
No, we had to put 7 extra spots in the back of the building, which we had to do the whole driveway, put more in. So we have 31. We only have 1,700 square feet.
Just I'm not sure, but didn't we give you credit for the ones for the other buildings on that site?
No,
No.
No? Or the other,
There was all
Tenants.
the other units.
we configured all the other employees for the other units.
Okay.
Yeah, we put 25 extra percent in, other than what was required for employee parking, that's air conditioning. So we just see all the same.
You're saying you're gonna have 7 to 9 employees?
8 on the higher shift.
So then we're looking at 11 additional parking spots now.
Yeah.
3 plus the 8 on the higher. That doesn't seem like a place to hold 11 more.
Yeah, well, I have all this.
Yes, does that matter? The first floor is 1,600.
So the first floor is only about 1,600 square feet. It's the first floor and the second floor with office spaces together with a lot of non-usable space.
Right.
Inherently became the 3,600, but our retail area, it's about 1,600 to 1,800 square feet.
Right. Okay, maybe that's what you came up with the numbers, that would drop you down. I believe our thing is based on retail.
Yeah.
Well, our retail square footage is just the first floor.
Yeah, it's about 1,800 square feet.
It says retail with warehouse office space.
Yeah, it's storage and everything.
But first floor retail is about 1,800 square feet.
What section of the bylaws that is?
Yes, I did with 16714.
Did you say 16714?
Yeah, correct.
All right, because at first glance, you look really close. We also, for one space for every 175 square feet, if 45% of the lot is left as green space.
Oh, that's what we did, the calculation.
Because there's, I mean,
Right. Thank you for that. I'm trying to remember how we got to 29 spaces, and that's where we took the credit.
So maybe- minimum.
Because this whole section off here is
Yeah,
part of the lot.
This, exactly, yeah. I was trying to remember how we got to that. I didn't have the benefit of having the bylaw in front of me.
Well, we'll be sending it out for a review engineer anyway, so we can work those numbers out.
Yeah, you bet.
So, do you mean on the peer review?
Yep.
What is it that we should anticipate being on the peer review?
He goes over the whole thing.
You might want to add your sign to it.
yeah, so maybe that's the difference too. It looks like this one has, no, they're both on there. Maybe that's right there.
That's a flood level. Yeah, the sign is actually right there, indicated right here.
Okay.
That's the existing sign.
These maybe enter, do not enter?
Yes,
I assume?
yes.
Okay. As I look at it, I do think you have an advantage where it's already a working building. We already know that those things service that building. The parking spaces, I think, we'll have to take a look, crunch those numbers, but as long as that jives, because at first glance, I thought 36 were required. I'll have to take a look at that.
Well, even if it's 29, there needs to be 8 for the employees, so we're pretty close.
What was it, 175?
175, if 45%.
So for 3,600 square feet, I think that's where we got the 29, so 3,600 square feet at 175 per spot gets you 20 spots, 20.5 spots.
Okay. And
Yeah,
then
the employees is 28.5, and we've said 29.
and then provided 34.
Correct.
Okay.
So we do 3,600, divide that by 175 square feet, it's 20.5, plus the 8, gets you 28.5.
Could you times that by 1.25 for me?
Which number?
That number right there.
Plus 8, 1.25, you said it was 35.7.
Okay. Just going back to, I would like to check that out, but if we had 125% requirement on the other one, it looks like you would meet that. That's why I want to see what 125% of that number was.
You mean on Flower and Solmark?
Yes. Just to make sure that everyone was.
Anybody else on the board? Question?
Not right now.
Rick?
Rick,
No.
any questions?
No, so that's, where'd the 100 square feet come up with? How'd they come up with that for the parking spaces? Now it's the bylaws 175, is that right?
Because they're
does say.
providing 40%, 45% green space.
John, right here, just on eyeballing it.
At least 50, I would say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's other green spaces along
Right.
here. Along the back, yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, if you throw a note on it, just that way it's,
That's easy to do.
you know.
Absolutely.
All right, anybody from the audience? Any questions?
I guess I would just ask that I haven't seen any 500-foot buffer circles that, again, we were required to show. So, I think it's going to be close to buffer.
Well, that's gonna kind of go into the special permit.
Okay.
So
And then-
right now, we're doing the site plan.
Okay. So for the site plan, I guess, like, we also had to do a traffic study.
I think that was under the
Special.
special. report.
Mr. Chairman, I appreciate our competitors' comment. We would, and I expect the board would do the same, hold us to the bylaws.
Mhm.
If another project did something for their project, that's great. I appreciate that. Our obligation to the town is to the bylaws.
Absolutely.
So if another project had other considerations, I hope the board wouldn't consider those as it relates to our project. This is an entirely different set of circumstances than any other project would be, with an existing business, the existing use, how that compares to our proposed use. So I can appreciate our competitor making this as difficult as possible, but at the end of the day, we have an obligation to the town, the residents, to the bylaw. And it would, I hope the board would consider that as we move through the process, and not something another applicant did for another reason. I don't know their business plan. I don't presume to know why they needed 25% more parking. It's irrelevant to our proposal, quite frankly. It isn't an apples and apples thing, just because we're in the same use. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to say that, Mr. Chairman.
Yep.
Touched
Is 500 feet?
And this plan here shows the 500.
Yes. Show,
Property line.
yellow line up here. We show the zoning line, the yellow line indicating what businesses or what uses lie within that
Is that-
radius.
Okay, and then I just want to stop you there, because that's really in our special,
Okay.
not the site plan.
All right.
But in the site plan, you have to provide us with all those measurements, so we do have that. So with the site plan, nobody else has any other questions? Sure. Could you state your name and
Joseph, Halifax, on Plymouth Street. They stated there Kingston Place. Kingston Place is a street, it's not a major street, it's just a street. This is a major street, 58, okay? A lot of traffic on 58. So you can't compare each one, okay? There's a lot of traffic going by the Kingston Place. That's all.
so we have a motion to send this to
Peer review.
peer review?
Yes, we're just trying to figure out the buffer zone right here.
But that's gonna go into the special permit,
Okay.
which we got open now.
Okay. You want to do it?
So, well, I want to take care of the site plan first. There's a few separate things. I mean, you can keep it out there. I just wanted to.
Yep.
So on the site plan, we'll continue the site plan review to our next meeting. And we have a motion to send this out to the peer review.
I'll make a motion to send it out to peer review.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Aye.
Okay. And that'll be, we'll send this out to Amory Engineering.
Do we have an account set up? A revolving account?
So what we need is a revolving account. You're familiar with that. You can get in touch with the secretary Monday.
Sure, yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right, so,
And just so you know, we made a decision to send all site plans out for peer review. That's not something that is specific to you. It's so that we're not picking and choosing which projects cross our desk. So we're sending them out for everybody so that everybody gets a clear and fair. Should we crack that all down?
okay, so now you want to read the,
Yep.
that's for special, right? I don't know if she wrote one up for the other two, because it's really not. Do I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Notice of public hearing. The Halifax Planning Board will hold a public hearing on Thursday, April 7th, 2022 at 7:15 PM in the Board of Selectmen's meeting room of Halifax Town Hall, 499 Plymouth Street, Halifax, Massachusetts, on the application by Elevated Roots 2 LLC, owner 319 Monpont LLC, for a marijuana establishment to be located at 319 Monpont Street, Halifax, Massachusetts, as shown on Assessors Map 63, Lot 27, recorded in the Registry of Deeds, Book 4029, page 5. The applicant seeks to obtain a special permit to operate an adult use retail marijuana dispensary as defined under Halifax zoning bylaw sections 167-3 and 167-7. Schedule of use regulations, specific use regulations for marijuana establishments, area is zoned business.
Okay.
And again, you want me to go through the background just for the record, Mr. Chairman?
I would, please, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So on the special permit for elevated routes at 319 Monpont Street, as a reminder to the board and just for the record, this project first came before the town on August 10th, and when we submitted a letter of interest to the select board, Following that, we met with the select board on September 28th, where we provided a presentation and overview of the project, the proposed site and use for the benefit of the public and the residents, and for the board to consider whether or not this was an appropriate location to move forward with. Ultimately, the board voted unanimously to allow us to conduct a community forum to gain feedback from residents and abutters. The community forum was held on November 2nd here at Town Hall, and it was also made available by Zoom for people to participate. There was no opposition registered at that meeting from any residents or abutters. Subsequent to that meeting, the board held the comment period open until December 14th. At the December 14th, the board discussed and ultimately voted to issue a host community agreement for Elevated Routes 2 at this location. Subsequent to the December 14th meeting, the select board was provided a site plan as well as a request for a municipal response to the Cannabis Control Commission at the March 22nd meeting. So those are all the meetings we've had up to before this meeting. And then we're before you tonight, having just completed the site plan review first hearing to open up for the special permit. The use, as you mentioned, is an adult use retail facility at this location. We just went through during the site plan review some of the parking. We'll work through that with the peer reviewer. I think we got there though. And with that, Mr. Chairman, do you want me to turn it back over to Al to go back through the site plan? Is that an appropriate way to proceed? Sure. Or do you want to start with the locus?
I mean, we've been through the site plan.
Okay.
We're familiar with that.
Okay.
So if we can go on to this.
Certainly, Mr. Chairman. Compliance with your regulated checklist. We've shown the immediate area. I overlaid this on an aerial image to help illustrate the parking, driveways, et cetera, in the area. So we show the property line in the solid yellow line. We show the zoning district line in this green dash line. And we show the 300-foot setback that you're required to indicate uses. Pardon me? 500. It's 300. It's 300.
Okay.
To show the various uses and the physical characteristics of the abutting properties or near vicinity properties. So the uses are indicated on the plan, whether residential or convenience store, et cetera. And this didn't print very well. I apologize for the quality, but it does, you can see the driveways, the pavement, et cetera. So it still gives a good idea of where it lies in the world. I'll take any questions if we.
So the 300 is according to site plan.
The checklist, yes.
Checklist.
Yeah.
So the thing it doesn't show is the 500 for the marijuana dispensary. Correct.
Correct, it does not show that. That's a simple matter, it will fit within this plan. I can offset that line another 200 feet and it will clearly indicate as well.
Okay, so in this instance is where I would bring up the traffic study. I was wondering, what we've looked at as far as traffic there and the impact, if there's been any.
We did not do a traffic impact statement for this project. I think as we mentioned during the site plan review hearing, we have the benefit of having actually operated one of these facilities, so we're not guessing what we might need or having to put in extra parking because we've already operated it. So that facility, and while I agree with the prior gentleman's comment, we're not comparing Kingston to Halifax in any way as it relates to traffic. I think what we're talking about is the site is the site. So it kind of doesn't matter where it is. We know how many customers we bring in. We know how many customers leave, when they come, when they go. And we have a very clear understanding of what the requirements would be relative to parking. As we mentioned at our other facility, we're operating with about 28 parking spaces. We haven't had any issues with traffic parking up, being on the road, anything like that. And while it is in a different area, meaning it's not in a main area, it does serve a Lowe's and an Amazon distribution facility, and both of those provide a substantial amount of traffic on that road. So while it's not a main area, there is only one road with no intersections handling all those vehicles. And Amazon distribution facility has a couple vehicles at it, and the Lowe's certainly has quite a bit of traffic, as you can imagine, on nights and weekends. So we have operated in areas with substantial traffic. And so when we looked at the site, and if you think of how a customer operates at a bank, and even the security, quite frankly, a bank is the example I use about when I talk about how security canvas facilities work. But operationally, the way a bank and a cannabis retail work, they're very similar. However, we do have shorter customer times than a bank would. So we didn't do a traffic impact statement for here, just based on the site, the available parking, and our operational experience that we've been operating under with 28 stops.
Okay, because my concern is that we have traffic problems there in the afternoon and in the morning right now. And I would like to see how that's going to be impacted, because it's a serious traffic problem there presently. And the banks, when the bank was there, I mean, the bank was basically closed at 4. Mm-hmm. You're going to be open through that period where we're going to get the most traffic. Mm-hmm. It would be my feeling that it would be for the best interest of the town if we had a study.
If I might add, Mr. Chairman, if you were going to design the site from scratch, this would be pretty much what you would do, because you have entrances here and the exit as far as possible away from the intersection. So that offers the ability for this, the customer can wait here if there is a line of traffic, but he's not interfering with the flow of traffic. These are going to be quick entrances. It's going to be a quick vehicle movement off the street. So that's not going to really tie things up. You would be concerned about the exiting traffic, I would suggest, more than anything, but that's in an ideal location for that, in my opinion.
Well, and that's what we looked at when we took a look at that site in the beginning for the traffic. But what I'm looking at is the volume of traffic you're going to be adding at the time you're going to be adding it. And what the bank had, I do not believe is what you're going to have. That's my concern. Mm-hmm. And the rest of the board can either agree or disagree.
I would agree. And it depends on which side they're coming from. I mean, they might hold up traffic if they're going south and they have to cross traffic to get in. They will be holding up traffic. So it kind of depends on which way you're coming from.
And I don't know if the timing of the lights can be changed, or, because we have the intersection right there.
In the Kingston location, during your peak hours, when you have 8 employees and whatever, do you see yourself at capacity for the parking spaces?
Do not. Even at our busiest time, our parking spaces are pretty empty.
Okay.
Because the turnaround is so quick, it doesn't get a buffer.
Just because for basic math purposes, 34 spaces minus 8 employees, you got 26 spaces. If each customer turnaround time is 6 minutes, times 10, that's 260 people per hour coming through your property. That's at capacity. That's what I'm saying. If we're gonna connect Kingston in any way to this, it's not about traffic, because it is a different location, but it is about flow.
It is about operational flow and parking lot flow. That is relevant. And that's one of the benefits I see the other day.
Yeah, so that's where the question would come up, because if you do the basic math based off of the turnover rate being 6 minutes per customer, times obviously, that gives you 10, that's 260. If that's what you're doing every hour, it's going to be a way bigger log jam than the thing. But if
300 people a day.
Okay.
If we had 300 people an hour, we could turn that into like the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, right.
Whatever you need.
I was gonna say, we might need a bigger building, but
We're gonna
just
need a lot bigger
for the
building.
sake of the conversation, the people in the room and that are listening, to put it in perspective for what the turnover rate is, but at capacity, what you're actually doing on a daily basis rather than an hourly basis. So that.
In your peak times, traffic is when? You're saying the jam?
Starts around like 2:30 in the afternoon.
Yes, that would be our absolute slowest time.
Yeah, but it
And
goes
it
through
goes-
until 6:30.
Right.
Yeah, we would pick up from 7 to 9 usually our business times.
And just using your math, that would be about 3,100 customers a day.
Right.
And we see on average 300 customers a day.
Right. So that's an important note to add if you're going to.
And that's just the benefit of having the years long experience, you know, to the town, for us, for everybody, is we really have a very clear understanding how this operates. Remember, 50% of me.
Yeah.
Pickup.
I think the other thing that we got to start factoring in too, and I don't know if it falls in, and if I'm speaking out of turn, just gladly tell me to shut up. But how many competitors do you have in the Kingston location in proximity versus what we're going to deal here? Because you know, obviously, Flower and Soul, the Panacea, then Middleborough Rotary, right? If you're the only one in Kingston, you're going to have people flocking from everywhere. If there's 10 of them around this
These are
location,
two of the biggest ones right next to us. We have Triple M and then Zimmer.
But both of those are in Plymouth, so we're the only one.
you're the only one
To
in
answer your
Kingston.
question.
Okay. All right.
Especially, I mean, the competition's everywhere now.
Right. It's a pretty saturated market for that, for the retail side of it. Okay.
And that's where the traffic study, I mean, years ago, they needed to, but now there's so much competition, we don't even have lines in our busiest times because we're so efficient the way we run the store.
I guess where I'm going with that is if you're the only one in Kingston and you're maxing out at 300 per day, and we're about to have 2+ in, you know, just Halifax alone,
That's separated, so there'll be less flow.
Yeah, that's gonna be less.
right. That's where I'm trying to go.
Definitely appreciate your calculation.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, certainly, we're happy to do the traffic impact statement if the board wants to see it. It's a reasonable request, certainly. I think just having the operational experience would be very comfortable, but, you know, to the extent the board wants to do it, we're happy. I leave it
It's
to
about
that.
the impact on the town.
Yeah, I personally think everybody would feel more comfortable throughout the town, and also the competition that we did make, not comparing the two, but for that sake, you know, dotting the I's and crossing the T's so that nobody can say anything other than they did everything that was asked of them is probably going to make it a lot easier for everybody to move forward with that.
Sure.
Agreed.
100%.
Was there anything else on the special permit side?
Looking.
Yeah. I said my piece. Good.
We're gonna need to see a 500-foot buffer from, okay. They have to do you know which bylaw we're looking at here?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And you mentioned being open till 9. We in Halifax are only allowed to be open 8 to 8. Okay.
And that's retail? Or is that?
It's any marijuana treatment facility of 8 to 8. That's our bylaw. Okay, just making sure you know.
We'll be probably, yeah, whatever the common law is.
Yeah.
Rick, did you have anything else?
No.
I don't know if you can hear me. Sorry, I'm trying to convey the message over if you can't hear it, but I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Have you sent a security report to the police station?
I believe we already did, we've already been out to the site.
Okay.
Yeah, there's since they didn't see no problems with yeah.
How did I miss that one? Sorry.
They're pretty quick. It says, and then zoning had no comments either.
All right, I stopped reading that. Okay, thank you.
Me personally, the 3 notes that I'd like to see would be if the spaces could have numbers, just so everyone could see, and if it's just the first one and the last one, just so it's on that.
You mean for the purpose of the You want numbers? Okay.
Yeah, like you said, I'm saying, you don't need necessarily number all of them, just a number on there for how many are provided. It's a little more visible. And then if you could add a note for the building size and the percent of the green space. That way we can
in a chat,
verify between the building spaces provided and then where we came up with that.
in the chat showing the employees, just so that that's all spells out where the number came from for the parking spaces.
So just, Mr. Chairman, if I could, just to recap, make sure we captured 500-foot buffer, traffic impact statement, hours, I assume will be in your decision or align with the bylaw of 8
Yeah.
that we'll number the spaces, not actually on the site, but for the purposes of the plan, right? Just make sure I understand that, okay. Building size, I know, obviously. And then I just made a note, update parking chart, show the free space in the place. I just want to make sure I capture it.
Yeah, perfect. That was nice and clear.
Because obviously we'll update this and send that to the peer reviewer, so we don't need to get those comments back.
Right.
And Joanne will manage the peer reviewer and get the cap set up and all that kind of stuff.
Correct.
Yes.
And right now, we don't interfere with any of those distances to any of the other establishments. Any other questions?
I don't have any other questions at this time.
Mark?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Rick?
Was that again?
Yeah, you have any further questions or comments?
No, I don't have anything to say now.
And I'll open it up to the public. Any comments, questions?
I would just ask the board to whether it's going to consider the ice cream stand a place where kids congregate or not. You know, it's that the description is pretty up to a board's decision, and it's widely defined differently by towns. As I think the ice cream place is close to their property line, and you take the wetlands. So I would just ask the board whether or not how it's going to view the ice cream stand as a place where kids congregate.
Can you flip that again so I can see it real quick? Sorry. Right.
Yeah. Only a 300-foot zone.
I understand what you're saying. I'm glad you phrased it the way that you did, because it's open to interpretation as far as what is considered a child congregational kind of place. I'm not sure that we can legally retail place of business with ice cream.
Not a public place. I'd have to think about that, but I don't see the connection. I wouldn't consider it something like a park,
Right.
which I believe would be the intent of that park.
Because I mean, the other thing is like you could use like Nezzarella's farms during their hay maze or their corn maze. A lot of kids are there, but Nezzarella's farms isn't a kid. So it brings up a good point.
Some towns classify it pickleball.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a place for kids congregate because they have kids classes and everything like that. So again, it brings up a good point. But
Double it just because I don't know.
I guess we'd have to look into it a little bit more. But I'd have a hard time personally, telling the ice cream shop that they're a kid shop. Personally.
Well, it is analogous to Dunkin's, McDonald's,
Right.
Burger King, where do you go?
But
Massachusetts Department of Public Health issued guidance on the term of where children commonly congregate. So that term was initially introduced into Massachusetts during the development of the medical use of marijuana regulations. Towns were struggling with how to interpret it, enforce it, and whether to apply to it. Mass Department of Public Health issues the only published guidance that I'm aware of, what it meant. And to them, what it meant is a place where there was structured structured children's activity.
Yeah, like a little league field, something like that.
It's an interpretation. If that was structured, it was every week at the same time, yes. If it was a field that kids could go play on, then actually no.
Okay.
It's the DPH guidance actually said scheduled and structured, regularly scheduled and structured kids activity. And so that's how the Mass Department of Public Health, and the reason they published that guidance is because even operators didn't know what it meant. Right. What does that mean? I don't know where children, they congregate at Dunkin' Donuts, probably have at school or Burger King on the McDonald's, back in the day. And we all went and had our birthday parties at McDonald's, right? So I don't know that they do that anymore, but I mean, it was a hell of a time. So at any rate, DPH has weighed in on this. That terminology was carried over into town bylaws because towns adopted their bylaws in response to the medical use of marijuana program. Subsequently, that terminology has been removed from adult use cannabis. It's not anywhere in the adult use regulations at all. However, it remains in town bylaws because town bylaws take a lot longer to update, as we all know. Under Mass General Law, Chapter 94G, they define what uses shall be considered, and they can be reduced by a town. They only enumerates public and private schools K through 12, so they made clear as it relates to adult use what they think should be considered. They give the town the ability to reduce those buffers if they so chose, like a city where you would have to, or right, would be able to do it. And then, interestingly enough, the Cannabis Control Commission initially interpreted how that distance would be measured through the regulations, and they said it was property line to property line. Subsequent, again, that didn't work because it became prohibitive in a lot of places, not necessarily Halifax, but in other parts of the state. And CCC, during their regulatory change of 2020, amended the measuring guidelines of how that distance is measured, bringing it closer. So it's now measured from the front of the door to the of each establishment. So my point is as these things continue to evolve, obviously a town bylaw cannot keep up at that rate that the state thing changes. But I do think it has been pretty clearly defined by Mass DPH. I think a lot of people adopted that interpretation where their bylaw fails to otherwise define it. And then some towns did say, well, we don't know what that means, so they said what it meant. Halifax didn't do that. But at any rate, so just some background on how that started and how we've progressed over the years.
Got it.
Okay, seeing no further debate. Anybody else from last time?
Move to continue.
I would take a motion to continue the hearing.
I'll make a motion to continue the hearing, sorry, to our next meeting on April 21st, 2022. We have bylaws, so
We have bylaws on that.
next meeting. So should we go for a 7:45?
Maybe we go for 8 o'clock.
Okay.
What was the, I apologize, what was the date on the motion?
7:21.
April 21st, 2022 at 8 o'clock.
We have a motion to continue the hearing. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks.
Chairman, do you have questions on
Site plan?
the as-built, you want to stay on the agenda?
Yeah, if you want to hang around.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
I know we're running a little late, but we'll be on 7:30, but so 7:30 we have Liddell 285 Home Street.
My name is Rob Schlein. I'm a lawyer.
Rick.
Yeah, I have to recuse.
Okay.
I have to stay in the audience.
It's 8:06.
Thank you.
Okay.
My name is Robert Schlein. I'm from Prince LaBelle in Boston, and I'm here at the request of Liddell Development, which is the owner of 285 Home Street. I know that this has been before you for some time now on the site plan review. And, you know, I'm basically responding to the letter that we had questions about drainage and also about the lighting plan. You know, as you know, the property is vacant. It's going to stay vacant for the foreseeable future. We did have I think a complaint from the abutter about lighting, and we shut down the lighting system, not using it. And so I think we respectfully, and I think this all goes along with the backdrop of when the building is going to go to some use. And it's in the industrial zone, as you know, so it's a pretty broad category of uses. I think when we know what that use is, we will be back to you with, for example, I'm going to respectfully suggest a lighting plan that conforms to the use. And, you know, as things go, there'll be, I'm sure that once we know the use, we'll have questions about traffic, as you did for elevated routes and other things specific to use. But right now it's vacant. It's been improved, and so it's not quite the eyesore that it used to be. But right now we're just sitting on the property without a particular use to suggest to you. So I'd like to respectfully suggest that as long as the lights stay off, that for now at least the lighting plan be waived, with the understanding that when we do come to you with a use, we'll have to provide a lighting. And I'm not sure what the questions were about drainage. There is 3 new drainage systems installed, and I'm not sure what those questions might be if it came from the peer review engineer or elsewhere. That's kind of where we are right now. We'd like very much to close out the site plan review, knowing that, again, it's sort of odd because we've improved the building, but we're not doing anything with it right now, and we don't propose to do anything. And we know that when we do propose to do something, we're going to have to come back. So I respectfully request you to waive the lighting plan and maybe consider closing the site plan review at this time. Because I know that there's a sign structure there, but we don't have a sign to put on it. So that's the kind of thing that we'll have to come back to you for.
All right. Because there was a complaint that the lights were shining over, and
Right.
and we had a meeting where, you know, they said that they were going to shut the lights off, and they didn't get shut off, and so exacerbated the problem.
Got it.
They are off.
They are off.
I have driven by.
Okay, right.
Mhm.
They'll stay off. And that's where we are right now.
What about the drainage as far as, I'm just going back in my head about that now.
Drainage calculations.
I remember seeing them in the first case.
But I don't know. So this is my notes. I don't know if you can make any toss or turn on them, but. That's right. Well, it's not gonna be at them. Not on that.
You remember? That was from Amy.
Alright, I mean, that one seems.
We had it.
Okay.
It might be in here looking at it. This is everything from that meeting. Just so that we have it. I started it during Zoom. Yeah, well, this is just not in the meeting, so we probably go again, like, you see what I mean, so that I can get it in the meeting. It's not like,
Yeah, it's the way order that it came. This is from
I don't know.
Yeah.
March 8th.
I think. Yeah, see it in there. So it might be in there.
February. So this is the most recent.
That's the-
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this is March 7th.
It was brought up before also.
Oh, you know,
It's just-
local community.
There's specific items stored in the plan, but I don't know if that has anything to do with site plan, drainage and lighting
Well, you're saying that they're not using it.
or anything. Yeah.
You can enter that.
Did you have the March 7th one?
I did. I think that's the one we were looking at. The maps, right?
We got February 28th.
Do you have the plan? Because that's what Mark and I are looking for.
Yeah, right. At least we know we got that all.
Garage, see? See if I can get a bigger one out. You want a big one?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. That aging thing. No, we don't have a.
What's the date on that one?
19th of August. So we don't have a big plan. I thought we did have a big plan.
That.
Am I wrong, Gordon? Didn't we have a big plan here?
There's nothing else in here for what I'm seeing is.
Yeah, this is 2021, so. That's the only plan we have. Oh yeah, that's right. It was small, wasn't it? And we were like, yeah. Okay. So,
Yeah, I can search for it.
Yeah. These are, let's see.
Any emails?
I got more. Or some.
I'll do this to you right now.
Yeah, yeah. But it was all added.
Okay. date are we looking for?
We are looking, oh, good, look at you, electronic guy. Yeah.
2022, watch out.
January
I
6th.
don't know what that guy was saying about the town bylaws taking 100 years. We're getting there. What date?
January 6th, 2022.
January 6th. Plan.
Yeah, but the only problem is it's even smaller on this.
What you think too? That's not what we're looking for. Plan, proposed plan. Oh, there's no actual.
I think we did.
1/6.
Search.
That's all I got. Liddell plan.
Search
1/6.
Liddell.
I did.
Oh, yes.
This is all Liddell. Liddell.
Maybe it's,
Something in March.
yeah.
All right, let's go back to 1/6 and then we'll.
What was Josh's?
Usually Joanne then just forwards it, so all these are also.
Right.
Agenda, minutes. Minutes calculations. And what?
You on that?
Yeah, still.
Is that land planning?
Mm,
Yeah.
What was the date?
This one, this is May 12th, 21. Is that, this is definitely, I believe, newer than the latest one, because I think when the first came in, I don't remember seeing.
Because it might have
Was that a revision?
been a weekend.
Wasn't it?
Yep. So,
2022.
Mark, here it is.
not that new.
I can, sure, because you're able to. Yeah, or. If I can split it to
So it looks like this one,
This is the one.
December 30th is the latest date
Yeah,
on this one. So
We work a little electronic.
December
Magic.
30th, 2021.
21. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be it.
Okay.
All right, so I have the site plan, it's just sideways. So, let me see if I can get it to flip.
It's good for me.
I'll start getting vertigo. Also, what I can do is go here.
Cool.
Yep, I'm being recorded as well. These are. Okay.
What's the date on the plan?
1/6. Ah, there it is. Okay. So what I can do, what I'm trying to do here, I wonder if I do that, it's gonna. Nah, do it. Ooh. Okay. Hold on. Look at that. Okay, I'm not gonna do this. It looks stupid. So just keep it. Right. Fit the screen on this time.
What about lower the percentage, like, you know, like 100% go down to 50?
Can you move it to that screen?
Yeah. Not yet. Can't quite Tony Stark it just yet. Yeah, right, though. Yeah, for some reason, the whether it's the internet or for some other reason.
Might be the plan, too.
Yeah. Hold on,
You didn't have it in there?
So on your catch up, any comments?
Now, it seems like the biggest issue is the lighting, and it seems like that's been addressed.
And just, again, we'll be back to you when we have a use, we'll have an appropriate lighting plan, that will be shielded from the butters.
Shall we open up to public comment?
I respectfully suggest that you approve the site plan with the condition that the lights stay out at night until a lighting plan is submitted.
What'd you find?
A lot of sideways numbers.
Okay.
I mean, but if the most recent correspondence was on March 8th and it's saying that he doesn't see any issue with the drainage calculations, right? And the lights have been shut off, then I don't see why there would be any reason why we wouldn't move forward with this request.
I don't either.
I guess my question would be, then we're relying on the owners of the property's good faith that when they do decide, as we've all, or if anybody that's been in business knows that there's a million checklists that get done when you're opening a facility or using something, and going to Halifax Planning Board is probably not going to be at the top of the list. So if there's a way to make sure.
I'm going to suggest to you that we'd have to get a building permit, right, or an occupancy permit for the new use.
So we can send a
I don't
letter.
really see a way of anyone doing anything of any significance or coming back. So as long as we all agree.
Right. All I'm trying to avoid is just having it say, all of a sudden a month
Somebody
in,
thinking that they're good to go.
and then they come in and it's like, I thought they were going to come back. What the hell's up with that? They've been doing it for, the last 3 months, and then we got a summons again.
Yeah, well,
Site plan is good for the intent of not doing anything, and that's nothing wrong with that.
I still think that we should open up to public comment
When the time pull up, right?
Yeah.
to cover all of our bases.
You strongly believe that they've covered their bases.
No, and I agree with you, but I'm just crossing a T because I know that they're on and I don't feel right avoiding.
That was the latest plan.
Okay.
I mean, I think it would only be, to Amy's point, I think it would only be right to be able to open it up to public discussion so that if anybody does have something to say.
Okay.
Does anybody have anything to say?
Of course, I got something to say.
The floor is yours, Rick.
Okay. So that means if they're not going to do anything with the building now. I mean, they don't have to do anything with the drainage.
We just discussed.
No, the drainage calculations came back that they were good.
They were good.
That it supported the facility footprint.
We just caught Mark Milius up to speed and he agreed.
But there is no drainage there. They haven't installed the drainage that they said was okay.
I guess that you're in difference with Armory Engineering.
And I guess, so all Steve Hayward's videos and pictures from before, it doesn't mean anything now?
There was things installed after that, Rick.
There were things installed after that.
Yes. The extra ports and, all that were
Well,
installed.
they went to an engineer and designed it and came to the board and you approved it and then they installed it?
We know that we had Armory Engineering review it. We have the report from Armory Engineer. We just caught Mark up to date. He looked at it all.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things that Armory didn't have right on there, so, just to bring them up. Like he didn't, it says on the conditions that the paved area runs into pervious materials and doesn't go onto Home Street. And my question was, how is that going to work?
Do you have any recent pictures of this still occurring, Rick?
Of what?
Do you have any pictures of any recent times where this is occurring? Not when it was happening last fall, but after this system has been updated. Do you have any pictures of issues?
But the system hasn't been updated, Amy. Nothing's been put in according to this plan that they reviewed. Because Liddell came back and said that the drainage wasn't working and they had to add this. And the land planning drew up these plans and Amory said it's okay, but it's not installed. So how was that okay?
Armory Engineering says it is.
As it is existing, he said the existing drainage is okay?
Yeah, do you have the letter in front of you?
What's going on?
How do you feel about that, Gordon? Is that how it works?
We sent it out to a peer review, Rick.
I'm talking to Gordon.
Oh, I'm sorry. You've been talking to me this whole time. I didn't know you switched gears.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Chairman. I'm just wondering what's going on here. It just doesn't seem right. You know, nothing was designed and engineered. They just went and came in on a Friday and put some catch basins in and called it a day, and it still didn't work. Okay? There's a lot of conditions on your original site plan that you approved, the three of you approved, that it doesn't meet the conditions. And that's what brought all this about.
And we conditioned the report and they came back, Rick.
Well, does it meet MSM4 or MCM4 that Gordon put in the original conditions? Are they using it for antique furniture, which was originally what they're supposed to do with the property?
They're not using.
Well, like I said, the drainage hasn't been addressed.
The drainage was installed.
Do you have any information on when it was installed to satisfy the question?
I was just up
Yeah.
there, but I don't know.
The Amory didn't approve the system that's there. The leaching basins they stuck in on their own and then had land planning put it in a plan for them isn't what Amory approved.
Is there an objection to this system?
That's what he's saying.
Yeah.
Rick,
So the hard part here, sorry, Amy, I didn't mean to cut you off.
that's okay.
The hard part about this, Rick, is that we've outsourced it to the engineering firm, and they're coming back saying that everything's okay. So
They said that the proposed plan that they submitted looks okay to them, not what's existing in there now. Because even Liddell came back and said that what they have there is insufficient and they had to redesign, and that's what they did.
I'm gonna get my book again.
just one sec, Rick. Can you have that? Not that, the three pieces of paper that we saved from last time. Yeah. Where's the one that said? Where it said there are. Yeah, this one.
Rick, FYI, after reading this, there's nothing that would make me think that these systems are not in and installed correctly and working and also providing adequate drainage. He only calls out existing systems, existing basins. Nothing proposed. Okay, so maybe a third is proposed. That's the one where he was saying that has the thing that goes through. It's subsurface system 2. Right? It's in subsystem.
And then he asked for a double grading in one of the basins.
And then which would be this 4 right here. Okay. Maybe based on all the information I have in front of us, I think we should approve this.
Unless I'm not reading it right. I mean,
Mark Delton Engineering for years.
yeah, no.
I'll make a motion to accept the site plan as long as the lighting does not go on until they come back. And they will have a stop work order if they go forward with any business without coming back to us with a site plan the day after they stop business.
And
If they do. Change of use, meaning from the storage.
Right.
Should I reword that?
No, you're fine.
Good.
Yeah, it's good.
So there's a motion on the
You okay with
floor.
that?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Christ,
Thank you.
pretty pathetic.
Here you go. 1, 2, 3.
Ricky back in at 8:31.
I guess so.
Okay, next we get 745 River Street Associates LLC. Amendment to the site plan approval.
You love these folders. I'll hand it to you.
Thanks.
There's nobody here.
Would you like to hand it back? Now that there's nobody here.
Well, we can take it up after because we're running late. So. It's almost 8
Thanks,
o'clock.
Good pass.
So next up, we have Pasture Lane. Discussion and updates on to the subdivision.
Sure. So obviously, I'm John, I'm the owner of the property. Just kind of, at this point, we've completed a lot of the stuff that was on the punch list. I have copies of it for you guys. This one. This was the last list that came to us from, as far as what needed to be completed. This is the list that we're willing to do. Okay. So it's kind of, so that's, okay, I got you. Don't have trouble getting over here, but. And we've been back and forth with this thing. There's some new faces here, but we've been back and forth with this thing now for about 2 years. We bought the property, contingent on the fact that we fixed the road from the original developer. We got into kind of a position where we kind of had an agreement on what we were going to do. We reviewed it with Amory Engineering. They agreed as far as there was some work that was originally specified that was going to be eliminated, which we just figured out it was the second, the third lift of asphalt. So most subdivisions go binder and then top. They wanted to do binder, a second course of binder, and then top. It doesn't make it feasible for us as far as the cost. So we kind of had to review this. Everybody was kind of on board. There was a problem with the building inspector as far as he threw us on the bus. He told me that one of the buyers we had lined up that the built property is unbuildable. Then I'm getting phone calls from the realtor saying, I want to buy this property, knowing that it's unbuildable. So everything kind of got scared. We just kind of walked away. At that point, because I don't know for golf. So, I'm not under, we'll keep it. But I'd love to fix the property for you guys under the condition that we get the permit. And basically at this point, that's what we want to do. But if the next step is going to be a building permit in one way or another. Obviously, we're going to do the work, we're ready to do the work. We started some of it, we probably banged up about half that list so far. And then the next steps, it's kind of up to you guys on how you guys want to proceed. But I don't feel, I'll be straight up with you, I don't know from what happened before, I don't feel comfortable moving forward and spending any more money until I actually have the permit in my hand. Because we definitely kind of got, put through the ringer when we were ready to move forward with it.
When was that?
Yeah, I don't have the exact
It was
date.
the old building inspector.
Yeah, it was the old.
Let him answer.
Yeah, and I got a phone call the day after. He told me that he told the buyer the lot wasn't buildable. The day later, I got a call from the realtor saying, "Oh, we want to buy it." No, it's unbuildable. So obviously there was something going on with it. Like I said, it just kind of made us want to walk away, from moving forward with it. So that's where we are now, and I'd love to finish for you guys. But like I said, at this point, I talked to, we reviewed with our attorney. You guys don't have a mechanism to take the lot back from us. So for me, I'll fix the road, and I'm more than willing to do it, but we don't have any, we've got nothing to lose by sitting away. So it's kind of up to the town on how they want us to proceed.
As a resident, I'd like to see that.
We have to finish. Yeah, but you can see the documents, but we'll call on you after that.
And same thing, we just go back with the cost. Last year, this year, you're looking at probably the 30% cost.
At least that, right?
Just that one. So it's just kind of, we're we're kind of at the end of our road as far as, what we're, like I said, it's Jordan had approached us, we talked, we had, Jordan was the person we spoke to, I went out there with the original developer, met with him, kind of walked through things, kind of come up with a plan. We're willing to do some of the stuff and be like, hey, we just want to move the project forward because you guys haven't seen it being done. And now's the time to do it because we get this thing banged out, we're ready to go as far as, I think we prepped what they did. They did most of the basins are done. Most of the retention area is done. They prepped most of the asphalt. So I think Amory went out there and did a review again, went up to the site and said he just wants a call the day before we do asphalt to come take another peek. And then, we should be good to go as far as topping sidewalks. And then a handful of other items. I think we have to raise the fire hydrant still and like one or two other things. But a lot of that's been punched out. Some of the stuff will be before the asphalt.
What would a reason be for a request for a second binder?
We kind of reviewed that later. It was something that they kind of did back then, and we saw a couple of them, but you don't see it often. You maybe see it on maybe 1 or 2% of subdivisions now. So even the highways, it's binder top.
That's what I was going to say. It's not that large, and it's not that much traffic there, right? So that's where I thought it was.
Yeah, it's usually binder top, and Avery went out there reviewing the binders there. Our asphalt guy was out there too. There's some areas that we ripped out. There's some places where we have to kind of level just because it's been a while. There's some areas where we have to do some leveling and stuff like that that he reviewed. And it's kind of like I said, if Avery's on board with it, we're on board with it. It's not economically feasible for us to do the second lift of asphalt. It's another $70,000 second lift.
I mean, not just.
Sorry, you were printing stuff, but you've been through this whole thing. You're one who faced on board, so you went through with this before. So
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
yeah,
I mean, just gonna say with the inflation cost of just regular raw materials, let alone adding a second level that doesn't maybe necessarily be needed, seems a little.
there was and I just want to bring this up too because there was a second list I believe or two that was prior to that too, right? That somebody else had made, but Amory did the most recent one. Because there was
The older list?
Yeah, the older punch list. There was an original punch list, and I think Amory came back and did that one.
Right.
That was the most recent one that we based our things on. But there was some other things on there too. Because there was something with a pole, there was a light pole at the end that somebody talked about moving, but we kind of took a look at it where it's kind of dead into the sidewalk and stuff. That's the most recent punch list from Amory. I guess you guys are using now for all your cleaners.
Just for the sake of time, if I were to take this is what you're willing to do.
Correct.
And I were to put it over the top, what
There's
is
a
it?
couple, so the only thing that's.
Point those three out.
Yeah, the only thing that's missing,
I mean, you can tell me.
It's definitely the lifted asphalt, as-built engineering drawings, and I think it was the monument that's going to be placed by the engineer and located.
But they have to be done. Because the whole point of this is the road's got to be accepted. And the only way the road's going to be accepted is it's got to have an as-built and it's got to have the bounds put in.
Yeah, the problem.
And you can go back to the previous owner. I mean, it's his responsibility.
It is, it's my goodness, yeah.
It's his responsibility.
Yeah.
So unless he wants to pay taxes on the road forever and ever, it won't be accepted.
Let me review what the cost of that's going to be to do
It should be on him.
the as-built and the as-built.
This idea that he passed this off is pure garbage.
Yeah, and like I said, and that's something between me and Mike too, because originally this was something where it's like, hey, just go retake the road. It's going to cost you $100,000, and then
You get the lot.
yeah, which is what I stepped into. And then, like I said, then all of a sudden things kind of just got framed. Everything kind of started going his way. And like I said, I'll run through it. I mean, we're probably talking maybe $10,000 for the stuff to do that. I'm guessing for the as-built and the thing. But you're going to want the as-built from Amory, right?
No, he doesn't do the as-built.
Okay. So
No.
my engineer can do the as-built?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Let the engineer.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. And
He's got to set the bounds and he's got to do the as-built.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. If it's my guy doing it, I know what the costs are. If it's your guy doing it,
No, our guy is just, he's oversight. He's just the oversight.
what's that? Yeah. So I don't have a problem with that. If I can do it, if it's going to be Webby that's doing it, then like you said, I'll take care of that. So yeah, the only thing that would be missing was the
Third coat?
the extra binder, and then anything that you guys have on the end of your bills from Amory and stuff like that, as far as whatever you guys have to use Amory. But everything else I'll take care of.
Well, I mean, the only way that it can go forward is if you're gonna get the building permit, then there's gotta be a bond.
I don't have a problem. We mentioned that in the first meeting. I'd say we put up the bond for it. But like I said, same thing. It's the bond is going to stay this.
The bond's gotta cover everything though. I mean, it's gotta be the bounds, it's gotta be.
Oh, yeah, no, right, yeah. That's what, yeah. Let's say this, let's revise this now, well, pencil in. We'll put this with bounds with asphalt. Yeah, no, that's no problem.
I mean, I went out there with Pat Brennan the other day and, you guys cut some of the asphalt. I mean, there's 4 inches of asphalt in places.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not like it was skimped on the base coat.
Right, it actually held up remarkably well considering
It has.
the age, so it does need some love, but it's like, yeah, like I said, so.
Even at the low point, it looks like it's bad, but that's a leveling course they put on top of the binder.
Right, yeah.
The binder's underneath
It'll definitely
that.
hold up. When we tack that thing and put a squirt and a top coat on it, it will last you.
There's a couple of places where it's spited on the upper part, but that'll hold together.
So basically, back to your question, it'd be that then just with eliminating the second binder.
Is this whole project?
It'll be this without the third binder, armories.
Right. Just, and the reason I asked is because this project precedes my seat on the board.
Yeah, right.
So I'm trying to, you say, this is what was given you, this is what you're willing to do. I want to see what the overlay was. Yeah, I'll let all those previous conversations happen.
Everybody's, the planning board's actually been, the whole time has been fairly cooperative about everything. It's just, like I said, what ended up happening with this thing, it kind of made us feel, long tail cat and go rocking chairs is, then first of all, building inspector should not be talking to my buyer at all. Never mind telling me, oh, the lot's not buildable. And then somebody's reading an offer on the lot the next day to buy it for 10 days.
That's all you do.
So it's, I don't feel, the whole thing is like, I do this thing normally when you ordered first met. Our original plan was we're just going to do it. You guys give us the permit the next day. But then it just started becoming this thing where it just had a snowball. It just didn't make us feel comfortable. It's like, and we don't. While, Mike Goodman was the original builder, he probably shouldn't have picked this name. He definitely should have picked the name. Okay, all you do is go, of course, top coat. Well, the good thing is, but all costs are going up, real estate's going up. So it's like, the same thing. It is economically feasible for us to do it. Not the second.
But I mean, you're talking, the Cape Cod berms too.
Yeah, we'll do the Cape Cod berm.
I mean, it just doesn't say that.
Yeah.
So as far as bond, it looks like they have an estimate at 156.
Yep.
Are you looking to get that reduced by the amount of the binder plus work done?
Yeah. Yeah, so it would be like, I think it's, they call the binder and football.
70?
Yeah, well, that's what it is now. But that cost will be gone up too. So I'm saying it's probably, what do you guess, around 100 grand?
I don't know anything that's 100 grand. I can give you breakdown if you want to reach out to Andy. Maybe they could redo the estimates. You guys have some.
I was just going to recommend it to you because it's worth it if you've done a significant amount of things. It's worth bringing it back.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what I would suggest is we'll send it out to Amory to give us an estimate, but it also has to have a cushion on there. If we had to take the bond, we can't get it done to it.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, exactly. Like I said, the bond's what, 3% or something like that. It's not a big deal. As far as we'd love to move forward with it. We're perfectly on the perfect bond. We want to bang this thing out. And like I said, we can actually jump right on this thing too. So it's, we got out there, asphalt plants are open, and we can have this thing done, wrapped up, and neighbors be happy, and the new owner be happy, and us happy. So I don't see, like I said originally, it's just it didn't make sense that people were pushing back, but I do think that other people that we spoken for had different agendas as far as this.
Okay, so I'll open it up to the residents. You've got some questions, comments?
I have a few questions and comments for sure. First of all, thank you for getting some stuff done.
Oh, no problem.
Very much appreciated because it's been way too long.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, 2 years. So, well, for you, not only very serious, yeah.
Now, my question to the planning board, I guess, is has Mr. Paquette ever been given a copy of the covenant? Because there's a covenant that was supposed to be attached to the deed. It was never attached to the deed by the town for some reason.
That wouldn't be part of this part. That
Actually,
wouldn't
it
have
would, because
anything to
in
do
the
with it.
covenant, it's a 24
But the
month.
covenant would be transferred with the deed, which is not something that's handled by the planning board.
No, she's not saying that we would have transferred it.
According to.
It should have
my
been
attorney,
attached.
If the covenant, if the home was sold, if the land was sold, the covenant went with it. They had 24 months to complete all of the items which were included in the covenant. It's my understanding that that was never attached to the deed. And I have had my attorney do a deed search, which means the town was negligent in attaching that. So this gentleman has gotten this land through this little, whatever deal it was with Goodman.
Yep.
Which Goodman's done this in several other towns, because I had the attorney look into it. He's done this in several other towns.
Yeah, this isn't an uncommon problem just for Halifax, he does this.
No, I know. But there's a few other things that are included in the covenant that aren't on any of our.
Yeah, no, I know, we were never given any covenant or anything, that's nothing.
And I've actually gone to the planning board's office, and we don't even have a copy of it in the planning board. So I don't know why that is.
There should be a copy in the clerk's office.
I'll have to check with the clerk, because the planning board had no copy of it. So I'll check with the clerk. I'll have to check with the clerk on
Monday.
So one of the things is there's supposed to be a fence between the neighbors, because we have a massive problem with riffraff coming onto the street.
Gotcha.
They're probably going to be all over your construction site nonstop. Little kids throwing things, everything. So just watch that for your own liability. Put up fences, whatever you can do. That's the first thing. Do you have a plan to take the stuff that you guys pulled out of the water retention area?
Oh, yeah, all that will be removed, all the stuff.
Okay, because the kids have been playing.
Yeah, and then we got a couple of, there's a handful of other things that we had to order, especially that. To go on the retention areas and stuff like that. There's some other stuff.
Yeah.
As far as like the
So he doesn't feel like he's on
covenant plan, I don't,
Right.
we have no copy of it. No, it wasn't on the deed. And I've never seen it.
We have to direct everything
Yeah, I was
here.
gonna say, just so that he doesn't feel like he's on trial, even though it's an amicable conversation, just you gotta just direct it to us, he's in the room, he can hear you, and then just for the sake of process and due process.
Sorry.
No,
Yeah,
it's all good.
I just want to make sure, because I hate to see it. I mean, this is his
Mhm.
property now.
Yep.
There are kids in the neighborhood that are never watched. that have
As I've
played.
learned the hard way,
I know.
everything that's said in this room is recorded.
And that's fine. I
So
know
therefore, if
that's-
it's directed here, then we can direct it so
Yeah.
that, and nobody feels as though they're on trial.
That's
That's basically that.
Allow me to just interject here. I happen to own 5 pasture lane where those drainage basins are on my property. And I'm concerned that those kids are gonna get hurt. Somebody's gonna fall into that drainage basin when I'm not home or nobody's home. And it is my concern that it's gonna be my liability.
Right.
And one of these little kids is gonna get hurt. I don't wanna see that happen. So we wanna make sure that if there is something in the covenant that is supposed to protect that area, it gets done.
It's the last one in the back.
I want to make sure, because I know that it was never attached to the deed like it was supposed to have been.
It wasn't on the original site plan either.
It was on the town side, like the original development plan.
Yep.
But there was also notes covenant. So
I
all
feel
of
it.
it should have been included
I was given a copy.
in the transfer, but it wasn't. It should have been able to be seen, in the transfer to title. The town is flag. Almost there. And
Right.
wait till that happens.
Stephanie, do you have something to say?
If you had anything to add. Sandra, do you have to unmute her?
Could be on her end. Thank you. You're quiet.
Assuming everything were to move forward in the timing manner that you're thinking, what's the timeline from start to?
So we mean, we'd want to do the site work on the new lot first, and then we'd want to do after the site work's done. Once the site work septic are in, we'd want to do top coat. So, I mean, for us, I mean, we could do it if the permit actually turns, which everything would be already submitted for Board of Health, everything's approved already, except the building inspector. I don't know how the town's going to be as far as certain aspects of that, as far as reapplying. Are they going to make us redo a bunch of stuff? We'll find out. I know it's not you guys, not up to you.
I got you.
But assuming that the planning board is okay, we get the permit, let's say 3-4 weeks, we get the permit. Move forward. That's not the same thing. We're just constructing the sidewalk. There's 2 fire hydrants that we have to move. There's a grate that's coming. We already ordered it. It was had to be specially welded.
So you're saying like September 1st, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Done, yeah, 100% done. Yeah, but we want to get paid mid-season, so we don't want to be waiting.
That means
Just to-
you can't really hear very well. That's why it came down.
address the issue of safety, this detention basin and the sediment forebay are both designed on a 3-to-1 slope. So that's no different than someone would have a front yard designed if they had a slope. There may be on the covenants, but the design on the detention basin is not one that, as far as being concerned for safety, it's not a safety issue. It's not a safety issue because it's a 3-to-1 slope. A 3-to-1 slope is not considered dangerous, is what I'm saying.
Know what the rocks that they probably are, and the fact that the.
Well, yeah, I mean,
But that's
kids
not-
can throw a rock anywhere.
Oh, I
But
understand
the existing conditions, that's not an unsafe or dangerous situation.
that. Well, right
Just,
now,
just,
Yeah. It's actually because
Have you got a plan? Have you got a plan?
Yeah, I'm
I'm letting you know that a 3-to-1 slope is not something that is considered dangerous. No. Well, I mean, we're talking about kids falling and hurting. I just want the public to know that that design is typical of a front yard.
No, we're talking about. We're concerned for their safety. We're not.
Sounds like a parental issue.
It is a parental thing, but when
Yeah.
all parents are resigned, there's nothing you can do. We're just letting you know.
No,
And I'd rather
it's
let you know.
a parental issue, and so one of them falls and gets hurt, and now it's on.
That 100%.
So what do you have, the last house on
I have number 5, which, yeah, the last house.
Where they're eight
on the
drainage.
cul-de-sac?
Yeah.
Correct.
And I agree with you, for the record, as far as, it being a parental issue until somebody gets hurt, right? Those children are also trespassing.
Yeah.
They're also trespassing on somebody else's property.
And we
These are
put up,
certain-
we put up signs everywhere you probably follow them when you're doing your work. No trespassing,
Yeah.
or street has no trespassing signs up and down,
Mhm.
because these kids just go into everybody's yards and everything like that.
But it's kind of off the subject of getting the road done.
It's not in the, so I'm letting him know that there's also supposed to be fences when he does this, which is part of the covenant. The covenant is not attached because of the town. That's just what I'm making clear.
Do you have a copy of it with you?
I don't, because the town doesn't have it.
No, actually, I got it from the assessor. Rick, is Holly with you?
Well, I was told the town didn't have it, so.
I was handed it.
No,
by
she's
the-
not. No, she's not here.
She's not?
No.
Who told you that the town didn't have it?
The secretary for the planning board, when I started this probably 4 years ago.
Well, let's see if we can find it 4 years later.
Maybe it'll turn out. Okay.
Okay, so on this, we're thinking that, Rick, do you have anything to say
No.
on this? So we're gonna have the letter by Marie redone, right?
Yeah, he wants to, you can talk about redoing the punch list compared to what's done now.
Maybe in the best.
Yeah.
And we're talking about having a bond.
Yeah, we can put up a road on for it, and then, continue upon getting the building permit.
And that's why we would get the new cost on this.
Based on that list.
Okay.
Or what did you want Webby to do?
What we do the actual, and monument stuff, as long as it's something like that. We're just not in a position where we want to.
I think it's in everybody's best interest to get this off the topic.
Yeah.
So, and just get it done. So working collectively together to get it done from a safety issue, from a.
And I do feel like we were there. Like, I really feel like we stole victory from, stole victory from the other people, and we were there, and then all of a sudden, it's just like, yeah, it's just like, and then I'm saying that, what do you mean? The thing, the house was sold, everything was ready to go, we just needed the permit, it just kind of pulled up on it, I guess.
Yeah, you guys even have your septic.
Septic design.
So-
Seems like we've got next step.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get those done, knock those out, and keep making progress.
Can we just make sure that everyone involved gets a copy of this covenant?
That's something, obviously, if that's something to become part of the agreement, that's something I'm gonna have to see, obviously, because there's costs associated with that. Like I said, we're up against what it's worth versus what I have to do.
But isn't that covenant, isn't that where it's?
But the good thing is, as you said, real estate's up.
So asshole.
Yeah, right. Good thing you're not making it out of lumber.
Lumber looks like that, that's what's on the way up, so
it's a season.
So on the building permit, like you're gonna get the road done.
But he's gotta put a bond up before.
Yeah, so the building, we talked about that one, too, making the building permit, occupancy permit conditional upon completion of the road. If we do the bond, then we want to put a bond in lieu of making the building permit conditional. Otherwise, you get us on both sides. Way to do it. Yeah.
So in order, we gotta find the covenant.
Yeah.
Track it down. We gotta add that to the list of whatever that is to the Amory.
Let's take a look at what that is.
Have Amory redo the list. So it lines up.
Want to make sure that Amory rates that without the third coat, it'll be an accepted road. I think that would probably be a good thing to find.
He already did. I think everybody walked. I know you saw that, right? Where Pat said that was okay.
Yeah. But that's something the board's gonna have to vote.
Okay.
Is there a motion that needs to be passed in order for us to move forward?
Yeah.
I think the board actually did discuss it back when he was.
We discussed it then, yeah, but
It's a new board.
Yeah.
It,
If you couldn't tell. I would make a motion that we, based on the location of the covenant being added to the list upon review and agreed upon, and then Amory Engineering redoing the list of requests. Required, thank you. And also in there that Webby has the ability to.
no, I think you're getting too much.
You don't need to do that?
I mean, what we're looking for would be a reduction to 2 courses, a base coat and a top coat to coincide with the other subdivisions in town for a total of 3 inches.
Yeah.
That's my motion.
All your other subdivisions.
With a bond,
They're all.
are we gonna do separate ones?
No, because you gotta do that first. He's gotta do that first before he puts up the bond. Like, we can't get to even the bond part without doing any of this stuff.
How is it something like certificate of occupancy can't be issued until everything is taken care
Something
of?
we should talk about now.
That's what the bond
You
will
build
do.
it, but then you take your bond.
Yeah, it's either or.
He wouldn't be able to transfer it until he satisfies the bond.
So the idea of it is that, he's come forward, he started to work over there. We've seen an initial started work there. And then we reduce the estimate down to what's left. And then he provides us with a bond, and we'll have to do a bond plus 15 to 20% over. And then that releases the lot. He gets to build the house. And if for some reason he didn't finish the road, then the town takes the bond to finish it.
I just want to make, just as long as we have that covenant discussed.
Yeah, that's fine.
So why don't we make the motion that the list gets updated by Amory? Bond?
No, you're jumping. He's got to come back and look for the bond at another time, at the next meeting. So we get an estimate. We put a figure on there. He comes back, provides the bond. We accept the bond, we release the covenant. But right now, we need a motion to reduce from 4 inches to 3 inches.
Okay.
Because I think that's, I'm pretty sure it said 4 inches.
Before we,
No, I think it said 4.
I'll make the motion that we reduce the original list, updated list through Amory Engineering, to go from 3 levels to 2, right, to line up with other developments throughout the town. And then once that's done, and the covenant is tracked down and reviewed.
Second.
That's going to be conditional on getting that permit, not just.
Yeah, that's what I threw it in.
No, it said,
I like you guys, like I said, I got your before. You guys saying this and that's.
the original was 4 inches.
Yeah.
So we have a motion,
And a second.
and a second. Any discussion?
Just to clarify that that is to reduce the second binder.
Correct. Yes.
So we're gonna have a binder course and a wear course,
Okay.
both of 1.5 inches, equaling 3 inches. Okay, we have motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. So unanimous.
See how I had to think about it?
Okay. No, just thinking about where to put this.
No, I know, that's all I was saying. Just get a big sign out there, if you fall and get hurt on my property. I should like to get hurt.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's the last thing anybody wants to see.
Right.
Want to share this? Do you want me to pass out more?
Have anything else?
I'll be quick things, you know, like I said, once we get that back, we'll review that, get together, and then, we'll come up with a schedule that we do before as far as, get some more work done out there.
Do you anticipate doing anything for the sidewalk?
Yes, so what I'd like to do is, like I said, assuming this goes through, once we get your approval and then the permit, we'll get started on the sidewalks right away. That can be going on while we build the house. One thing we don't want to do is top coat off the house before the frame and after there is an house to tear it off.
So you might do the base coat for the sidewalk?
We'll get the so we probably get the top coat on the sidewalks done too. If we do that on a skid steer instead of doing it on paper, so. Speed up things, probably get that done. You can obviously get all the other work done, that will get parts on, the hydrants raised, all that stuff. So everything except the top coat will be done, prior to completing construction on the house. And then,
So at what point do you want to go for the bond?
we should probably go for the bond, well, go for the bond now. So if I put up the bond, you guys will give me the permit. Well, you guys will sign off on the building department giving me the permit. And once, like I said, once we have that, I can, like I said, that's the point where I'm comfortable spending more money. And going forward with it. And like I said, I trust you guys, and you guys haven't steered me wrong. Nobody's lied to me in this room, but like I said, some other stuff went on and it just didn't make us feel good about our project. So.
Yeah.
That's why there's elections. And new appointments.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I think everybody's going to be happy to see some stuff going on.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll be as cooperative as we can. Like I said, with you guys up there. Like I said, we'll do whatever we can. we want to get it done, we want everybody to be happy, like I said, stone periods, we were there. It's just, it was brutal.
Well, let's get there again soon.
Just step over the finish line, and all of a sudden, literally had a fire, and then it was set, fire line up.
I know why.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, I'm confident that we'll get there soon.
All right, perfect, thanks so much.
Okay, coming in.
Thank you.
Which one? No, that's for sure. Okay. And then there was one.
Take a break for a second.
Yeah, and
These guys, Joe, nice to meet you.
hopefully you can buy the site.
Huh?
I said, hopefully you can buy the site.
I have. Anybody want to come?
I've been hiding mine to not be professional this whole meeting. So I'm like, I don't want to be like, so
Would you like a piece of gum? Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
You bet. Should I leave one off? Do you want a new piece?
No,
Are
but
you sure?
no, I've been flavoring the savor, or savoring the flavor, whatever it is. Which way are they?
Left.
Down.
I think it's the last one on your left.
Yeah.
Doesn't have a stand up, you're on the wrong one.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
You haven't snuck in the measure on Gillette Stadium or on the playground.
No. Definitely not a Gillette.
It's great.
Foxborough, the trough. You remember that one?
Oh, back in the day.
Just an open
Yeah.
trough.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right when the new stadium was built, and when they had fences, you sat like literally on the bleachers. When
Yeah.
Sullivan Stadium.
Huh?
When what's his name? Cayenne or whatever his name was, and then Kraft bought it, and he went back.
Oh, okay.
And then Kraft left the office built in the stadium.
Hmm.
Just putting a larger screen in football in for the season. Goes from one end of the stadium to the other, like on the where the lighthouse is.
Mhm.
That's a huge. I don't know.
Even in small for me, blood pressure was a little high.
Right, as far as capacity and all that. Yeah, you go, we get up top, that's big.
Yeah, you go to Dallas and it's like 97 pounds. So they're big.
So much bigger. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Okay. You still got your Rick?
You're on mute.
So you know that bottom left, right? Is you.
I believe it says,
See if it has them on mute.
so I went out with Pat Emery, Pat Brennan last week and took a walk through there. Or the beginning, maybe it was the beginning of this week, I guess it was. So you just got some lumen and seeding left to do, really.
Yeah, we're calling some people who have got to Hydro Seed,
Yeah.
getting some quotes on that. And then we're actually gonna mulch back where the generator is, to give it some more, instead of Hydro Seed, we're just gonna mulch there. We've had, maybe since you were there, I've been talking to the neighbors, the Whitmans, and just making sure that the side, all the trees on the side met their, what we offered to what we offered the town, offered to them. And they just said, hey, we can kind of still see this. So I added 3 more. And I asked him because he's a landscaper. So I said, you tell me what you want.
Yeah, right.
And he said, oh, the white pines would look there. Boom. Like so I called up Frasco, we had put 3 white pines in for them.
Nice.
There's a spot that I think we could have 2 more green giants. So Frasco, this we could probably put 2 more green giants in. So we're I mean, like anything, I don't own a building, but I have a nice yard, so when I go out, look at it, looks like crap. Like, mulch is cheap.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to make it, fulfill above and beyond what we.
Awesome.
So when I was out there, I mean, the landscaping was pretty much done.
Yeah.
If you throw in a few more, but I think you satisfied what the plan was.
Yeah.
And then you got to do a little bit of loam and seed to secure the basin out back where it was washing in, that type of thing.
Okay.
But that's pretty minor. I don't know if anybody else has been out there. It's all striped. I think you lost 1 parking space in the front.
Yeah, we worked with the building inspector to just make it more handicap friendly.
So you picked up the ramp.
Yes, we made the ramp bigger, made it more accessible. Just, all did whatever he had approved, but we didn't think it was a system for handicap people. So we asked the building inspector if we could make the handicap area bigger. So we didn't eliminate anything. We wanted to just make it better for the handicap.
So you didn't lose a space, or you did?
We did. We went from 31 to 30.
Okay.
And that's right in front. That's in the front of the building.
Did you move it on?
Yeah.
And that's because they made that
Oh, yeah, and then they still have 1 extra.
the space between the handicaps is doubled.
Okay,
It's tripled or whatever. Yeah,
Makes sense, it looks bigger.
that's what took the space out.
Did you get the, if you're looking at the building, the right gate put up? Because it was just a gate and then a chain.
I don't think you're not gonna have a gate there
You just
when you're all
chain?
done, are you?
No, we're gonna work with Paul to take it down because the police chief would rather not have it there so they can drive
Okay.
through the.
I'll patrol at any time or something.
Yeah, and both the fire chief and the police chief came in. We went through all our security cameras with the chief. He actually liked it. We actually see 106. And he, like I said, I guess there was a robbery a few months ago, and they went to everyone's store cameras.
That's amazing what they can do now.
Yeah, so
many cameras around.
I think we have to.
Yeah, because I'm living in my neighborhood where everybody's got one, and then somebody drives by at 3:30, we get it out on Facebook.
Yeah, everybody knows who it is.
know who this car is. Somebody broke into one of the cars, and we tracked it down.
Nice.
Yep, so the signs are up.
Yep, looks good.
If the board wants to come in, and see it,
I'd love to.
just let me know. Next week we could do Friday. Actually, I have to stay in, so you can't come in on Friday. But and then the following Monday I'm around in Michigan. So either next week or probably the last week of the month.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys had to post it, if everyone wanted to come, if you guys want to come individually.
Go check it out, because this is going to a base and everything off of.
Right. When are you scheduled to open?
Well, anyone that's ever worked tried to deal with the state.
Yeah.
Our hope is to be on their May meeting, and then we open the end of May. If we don't make their May meeting, then it would be the end of June. We've been waiting a month for them to come in and just do our inspection, so it's frustrating because.
Yeah, nothing else you can do, right?
Nothing. This doesn't have anything to do with the planning board, so I don't know if I'm out of line for saying this, but one of the things you might want to do is reach out to the Cranberry Chamber of Commerce, to Valerie and Pam over there, because we did a ribbon cutting for Panacea in Middleborough.
Okay.
Drummed up a lot of publicity, a lot of notification, a lot of just, if you're going to be a business in our town, we want to help support you in any way that we can, and Halifax falls under the Cranberry Chamber jurisdiction. So just a thought.
No, be sure.
I like that.
Rick, do you have something?
No, I have nothing.
Okay. Your thing keeps flashing, so I didn't know if you were trying to speak.
I'm just moving around a little bit.
We want to the fireworks. We just then we for someone to approve it because they don't have a lot of money and we want to make it all I want to make it like it was when I came to Halifax with my kids to do it. So
Yeah, we heard that you were making a generous donation.
That's way cool. I loved that when I was a kid. It was a big thing too. It wasn't even just fireworks, you know, you go there, they had like the Dunkin' tanks and like all the stuff set up by the school.
It's gonna happen again this year.
Yeah, I remember feeling cool when I was a kid.
Cool. I'd like to check it out too.
Yeah.
So just three of us can't go at the same time. That's all.
To me, it looks like
Kidding me? Wait outside.
Yeah.
And they changed that.
Okay, is everybody good with the site plan? Did you get a chance to see it, Rick? Rick, did you get a chance to see the site plan?
Rick? You okay?
Did you drive by?
I drive by almost every day.
You
But I haven't actually got a chance to go
by it. I noticed, started off, looks good.
Yeah. This is one of the first projects that was brought up when I was introduced to the board, so it'd be nice to see it go from there to ribbon cutting.
So based on this, and we have the report back from Amy that everything was all set?
Yep. I'll make a motion to approve the site plan as built.
Second.
Sign it.
Second.
Okay, we have motion seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. Yep.
And I.
We have to do it with, don't we?
No,
No?
just a pen.
She put these specifically with it.
Any work that the I'm not gonna deviate from there.
I don't
Do we need
know.
to sign for five?
I just
For three of them?
Three anyways.
I'm gonna rule call it. What do you want?
There you go. Usually moves you out of trouble.
Usually.
Always money today. We all lose money today.
In the market? No, actually rebounded in the last like 30 minutes. Yeah, so everything finished up today.
Okay.
So depending if you own individual stocks or not, but Tesla went back up.
The 7th.
I'll tell you though, Canopy dropped like a rock in the last like two and a half weeks. Maybe.
When they're like, you know, the war has to pass.
Yeah.
And then everyone knows it passes. It never gets
Passes through the Senate, right? Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of like the, if you were exactly like them, you were like,
Planning board office would have fun signing.
I always thought,
Please.
Oh, yeah, I was
Yeah, actually, there's like a stack of things from last May. I think one of them had something to do with this, actually.
Oh, I got in 08. That's, everybody thought I was crazy. They're like, you want to get into this now? I'm like, there's no better time. I said, because everybody had somebody before and they were making tons of money, and good luck cracking somebody that's making you money. But market tanks, and all of a sudden they pick up the phone and they're willing to hear other options. You know? But, yeah. So. How did you get into?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know if we're gonna have this conversation or not, but how did you get into this industry?
so I left, I worked for Hydrants.
Okay.
And then I left, and then, I just started consulting with some, like, application.
Yeah.
They thought, "Oh, you make me sell weed."
All of them.
Right.
And you know, I want to take my own 50, so I took it.
No such thing as
Yeah.
sign
So
it.
same
It's
type of
almost
thing,
done.
and then it was a fragmented industry, and I said, how do I kind of
Yeah.
build this? So I actually own a payroll company
Okay.
that does payroll for cannabis companies across the US.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, and then I decided to jump ship, to go to the other side of the fence, I say.
Yeah.
Brendan.
That's cool.
I already missed one.
You didn't.
It's 12 more coming.
Don't worry, 7 of them are for Amy's secret stash of crap in her basement somewhere. for old antique dolls that she's got. She's got site
Actually,
plans.
Rick hasn't signed them yet,
Okay.
but, yeah. But it is, technically, it's
Done.
Yeah.
On the bills?
We'll get you a full signed one, but you might as well have that
No,
for
no,
now, just
you
in case you
gotta
need it.
read them. okay?
What's the best way to email Joanne and then schedule something with you guys, or do you guys want to let
To
me
come
know
down?
dates at work?
I mean, if you're gonna do it individually, I think everybody's got your email.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can just reach
Yeah,
out individually.
I'll
and
reach
say-
out and set up something with you.
Okay. Okay, cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Good luck.
Yeah, I look
Yeah.
forward to having you in town.
Yeah, no, me too. It's gonna be fun.
Okay.
Thank you.
I look forward to being an active member of the town, obviously through fireworks and stuff. All that
Well,
stuff.
I got a 1-year-old and one on the way in 4 weeks that have never seen the Halifax fireworks, so.
May 21st, we're having Halifax Cleanup Day. If you want to
Okay.
sponsor an area, that would be
Yeah.
fantastic, and pick up trash.
The 21st?
Yeah, 21st of May.
Okay.
It's opening day, isn't it? For you guys.
There you go. We can still do it.
If you can't do it that
No,
day,
no, I can do
but you can do it another and just send us pictures. It's the Halifax Beautification Committee.
Can you guys tell us where you want us to do it, or do you like bad areas? Like, where do you want us to do it? Just tell me that.
Actually, there's a choice. Somebody picked two places, and one of them was the whole area around Laurel and Circuit. If
Okay.
you would, around 106, if you would take that, that would be fantastic. You guys can wear like your shirts and
Yeah.
pick up trash.
Okay.
I'll get you some trash bags. I'll bring them to when I come to
Yeah.
see the place.
Perfect.
Okay.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
All right.
Have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
Ready.
All right, bills. Make a motion to pay Amory Engineering for invoice number 15823 for 2.5 hours of a plan review on 285 Home Street for $380.
Is a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye?
Aye.
No.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to pay Amory Engineering invoice number 15842 for 1 hours of planning services in the amount of $152 out of a revolving account, by the way.
is a motion, is a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to pay Plimpton and Halifax Express invoice number 13128 for 319 Plymouth Street elevated routes in the amount of $180.
Is a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to
Five ayes.
for a planning board expense for the Plimpton Halifax Express invoice number 13176 for public hearing ads in the amount of $395.55.
How much?
$395.55.
Yep, 400. Drive over here. Good.
And actually, the 90. Is there two bills for that? So there's two.
Yeah,
So I have,
90, and how much was the other one?
so the other one's 485.55 total. Yep.
Okay.
All right, total.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion, is your second?
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 So should I read the other one separately? Because I didn't.
As long as we agreed that it was $485 to be paid to them.
Did I say that in the motion?
I think so.
Okay. Here you go. 2 pages. Thank you.
Meeting minutes, do you wanna do those tonight, or you want to put them on?
Make a motion that we waive the meeting minutes.
I'll second.
I know enough about those kind of rules.
Next meeting.
Motion seconded. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Rick?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Oh, that's yours. Left us like randomly.
Yours aren't bedazzled?
No.
Okay, so get the bills signed, we signed these, what else did we sign tonight?
We signed that. That's the site plan for, I mean, the
Did we sign
as-built.
anything else tonight?
Nope.
I just. See, it's back. At the bottom.
See what time we get there.
Yeah, I didn't write anything decent.
Oh, that's the 319.
Yeah, the other one is.
The other one.
319, sir?
What?
Hold
Yeah,
on.
that's 319, isn't it? Elevated.
Elevated routes.
Oh, yeah.
And this is backup file for one site plan and one's this file.
Like so. Bills, like so.
Good job. Next meeting.
Any other motions?
Are we gonna,
To adjourn?
are we not gonna talk about 5G and 40R?
No, that's fine. Okay.
You saying?
I don't even have them to talk about them now.
Yeah, I'm looking now.
I don't see them. So 5G and 40R are on in here to talk about them, so we'll have to print those. Maybe we'd add it to our next agenda. What about 250 Lincoln Street earth removal? We
Yeah,
have
we got a report back from,
Amory. Amory,
yeah,
should I read it?
yeah.
Okay. Read into record from Amory Engineers to the Halifax Board of Selectmen. Subject 250 Lincoln Street earth removal permit. Dear board members, this is to advise that we have reviewed the following documents in support of the proposed earth removal permit application at 250 Lincoln Street, parcel 29-1-0. Site plan proposed bog reconfiguration. 11 sheets dated March 4th, 2022, prepared by Grady Consulting, LLC. Transmittal letter with attachments from Grady dated March 4th, 2022. The purpose of our review has been to evaluate conformance with the Halifax Soil Removal Bylaw, Chapter 144, Zoning Bylaw, Chapter 167, and good engineering practice. Background. The proposal calls for the removal of approximately 1,142,600 cubic yards of earth for the creation of cranberry bogs and water supply ponds. The site is currently used for cranberry farming, and the proposal would reconfigure some of the existing irregularly shaped bogs. Existing wooded and gravel areas on site would also be converted to cranberry bogs. Total site disturbance would be about 67.1 acres. The new and reconfigured bogs would be 180 feet in width, which would allow maintaining and harvesting the bogs from perimeter roads with specialized machinery that can reach 90 feet.
The site is located north of Plymouth Street, just west of Monpont Pond. Most of the site is located within the town's Zone 2 for the YMCA Wells 3 and 4 Aquifer and Well Protection District. According to Mass GIS, part of the site is also within Zone A of a surface water supply. Comments. Number 1, based on the amount of earth to be removed and the rough timeline of a 4 to 5 year period, the average number of trailer truckloads removed from the site would be between 34 and 43 per day. 2, due to the site being within the Aquifer and Well Protection District, a special permit from the planning board would be required to allow the work. We note the following issues related to that permitting process. A, zoning bylaw 167-17F14 does not allow any use that would retain less than 40% of a lot area in its natural vegetative state. The applicant's engineer should provide a calculation showing how much of the lot would remain natural. B, zoning bylaw 167-17F26 requires a special permit for the storage of commercial fertilizers. C, zoning bylaw 167-17F27 does not allow the removal of soil, loam, sand, gravel, or any other mineral material within 4 feet of the historical high groundwater table, unless the substances removed are redeposited within 45 days of removal on site to achieve a final grading greater than 4 feet above the historic high water mark. Water table information should be provided to verify compliance with this bylaw. However, we suspect that the excavations for the water supply ponds will be well below historical high groundwater table and would not comply with the bylaw. We note that this is also a requirement of Massachusetts DEP for wellhead protection. D, zoning bylaw 167-17F28 does not allow the removal of earth, loam, sand, and gravel, or any mineral in excess of 50 cubic yards, not incidental to construction of a building. 3, Mass DEP's Source Water Assessment and Protection report has ranked the susceptibility of Halifax's water supply wells to contamination as high due to the use or storage of pesticides related to cranberry bog operations within Zone 2. The applicant should explain how the expansion of cranberry operations would not further jeopardize the susceptibility of the wells to contamination. 4, we assume that the existing cranberry operation has a Water Management Act permit for water withdrawal. For the additional cranberry bog acreage, a new or modified water management permit will be required through the Massachusetts DEP. 5, if the board approves the earth removal permit, we recommend that the earth removal comply with zoning bylaw 167-17F27 such that there is no removal of earth within 4 feet of the historical high water table. Should you have any questions, please give us a call. Very truly yours, Armory Engineers. Pat Brennan. Yes, that's up and coming.
That's an earth removal permit that went before the selectmen.
They need to come in front of the planning board.
Now, that's got to be the only bogs left are on the left, which is now behind Walmart, right? If you go down.
All the way out behind the Avs.
All right, so I wasn't sure, so it's.
So why can't we?
This
Okay.
You can walk back and view from the edge of the well area.
Okay.
Just follow like Lincoln Street all the way to the end.
Yeah, right, and then it gets dirt, and then what we call the JJ camp or whatever.
Yes, yes.
But once you take out all that material, you got no way of purifying the water that's going into our wells.
Yeah, right, and like you're saying, there's no way if they're looking for a retention pond or something, they're going down that far.
The bogs are gonna be closer.
They're already like pretty close to the water.
Oh, they gotta be.
There.
Yeah, right.
Usually they're in the water table.
No, I meant like proximity to West Mumford.
Oh, to the pond.
They're literally like, I don't know, I don't want to guesstimate.
Okay.
What I mean
I don't think
is-
we can jeopardize our wells.
No, that's, drinking water is one of the most important things we got.
Amen. Okay, well, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I don't know if there's a second.
That was for you, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah. All in
okay,
favor?
I got a motion seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Rick?
Aye.
Have a good night.